For today, we have a lot of storms popping up in our local area, and it's a weather impact alert day. So for that reason, we're going to keep it here locally and just use this opportunity to do a lot of storm tracking with you. I'm going to zero in on the county by county level to show you where the storms are now, where they're going, and kind of what you can expect. If it's not storming where you are yet, when do they arrive? Those types of things. So thanks for joining us here for this bonus coverage. And what we're really talking about as we go through the rest of this evening with this impact alert, anywhere from now through about midnight, we have the risk of widespread showers and thunderstorms developing. We're already starting to see that for our foothill communities. Hasn't really been the case yet in the Triad, but they're on the way. And with that comes a risk of some flooding. That's the main concern with any storms out there today, because you could get multiple. If you get 1, 2, 3, 4 storms, that can add up, and it can make for some soggy ground. It can lead to some drainage problems and flooded roads. Wind gusts, that's a threat, but it's not as big of a threat as the flood. Bottom line, throughout the rest of this evening, keep that News 2 app close by. And if you are out and about, make sure that you're never driving through flooded roadways. Unfortunately, we tend to see that just about every time. Let's take a look at the live radar right now across our area. It's been changing, of course, every couple of minutes, as it always does on a day like today. Earlier, there were a couple sprinkles and light showers across the Triad area, but still pretty dry for Burlington, Greensboro, Winston-Salem. Your dry time is just about to end. Asheboro's dry, Lexington is too, but pretty busy now for our northern counties and our western counties. And these storms are starting to look a little bit stronger. I do have at least one active warning for you right now. There may be some more over the next 20 to 30 minutes as I'm here with you as well. So here we are. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. These get issued, by the way, by the National Weather Service. So it's never us here at WFMY putting these warnings out. We're the messenger. It's the Weather Service that's drawing them up and putting them out to you. So this is from the Weather Service in Blacksburg, Virginia, Surry County, Stokes County, parts of Patrick County. This is through about 7:15. They're warning that this area of thunderstorms in Stokes and this one in Surry either could have some wind speed about as high as 60 miles per hour. So let's zoom in a little bit more here. And this is going to be on the fly, a little casual here, as I don't have everything planned out to a T, but we can use our radar system to kind of get you some more detail on this. I'm going to take the labeling off so you get a better view of it. But here we are. This is central Stokes County. From Walnut Cove up here would be that Hanging Rock State Park area. There's Route 8. Lots of thunder and lightning, lots of downpour rain as well. It looks like the worst of the storm right now is just to the north of Danbury. So here's Route 8, there's Route 772. Lots of heavy rain in this area with some frequent lightning. If we turn on the wind profile, a lot of times we'll show this to you in a tornado warning. We're not really looking for any swirling winds because the atmosphere isn't worked that way right now. We don't have any twisting going on, but we would be looking to see, is there anything showing wind damage potential? And overall, I think this storm probably is not going to be putting down trees or power lines, but never say never. It looks like this is more in the range of 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts right now. Either way, you hear that thunder, hang tight inside until it passes and you should be all right. These showers and storms are all moving in this direction. So going from southwest to northeast, that's the storm motion. So this one's never going to hit you in Greensboro, but it is moving that direction that it could clip parts of Rockingham County. And what we're going to find is that these are putting out a lot of rain very quickly. So even just in short order, we've already had radar estimates of a good amount of rainfall. So let's put some labels on this so you can see. About 1 to 2 inches estimated already in parts of Surry County. That's early on throughout the system, so we've already had a good amount of rain out here. This is just for that storm that we've seen over the last little bit of time up in Surry and Stokes counties, so there's already a good amount of rain potential. And just think about it, if you're going to get 3, 4, 5 thunderstorms on a night like tonight, 1 to 2 inches of rain, then another 1 to 2 inches of rain, that adds up pretty quickly. So there could be some flooding problems that develop as a result of that. So that's the view up that way. Here's a live view of downtown Winston-Salem. Looks like a little bit of rain is starting to affect our weather camera downtown, which is on top of what used to be called the Winston Tower out that way. Seeing a little bit of sunshine breaking through the clouds also, but not storming all that bad in Winston-Salem, and it is still very warm and very humid. In High Point, clouds have started to invade a little bit. Overall, though, still bone dry. Burlington, you still have the sunshine. out right now. And again, it's dry, no sign of storms developing anytime soon for you. Up the road in Danville, Virginia, well, you're a little closer to the storms. And one thing you want to look for on days like today, when clouds start to grow in height and get a lot taller, that's when you start to get a little bit more concerned for rain moving your way. Tall clouds on the summertime on the order of 10, 30, 40, 50,000 feet, they can develop those really big downpours, those thunderstorms that we get a little concerned about. And on a day like today, watching those clouds and seeing them, well, that can be your cue that this might be soon to follow. That's the live view in Asheville. They've been dealing with on again, off again rain and downpours for really the better part of the afternoon. So they've already been seeing a lot of rain down in the Blue Ridge, and parts of the mountains definitely getting soaked pretty good. Let's go back to the radar right now. Again, it is dry in Greensboro, most of Winston-Salem, but let's take this opportunity to kind of look county by county. So we'll go a little bit closer view here and show you some of the sights and sounds. So let's take a look. I'm going to start you off in Guilford County just to kind of prove to you there's nothing going on right now. But we are starting to see things change just out to the west of us. Alamance, you're dry. Randolph, you're dry right now. But let's take a look over here at Forsyth County. I'm going to get that warning off to the north just so we can see together here a little bit better. Here's downtown Winston-Salem. Remember we looked at the weather camera together? We're looking at the wrong side. I've got to turn that one around because there are some downpours just now forming on the east side of downtown. So East Winston, this is going to be moving towards you in Kernersville pretty shortly. This one up here closer to Walkertown. So if we zoom in a little bit more on these, we can put on some roads for you to give you a better idea. These showers and storms haven't been out there very long. This one's along Salem Parkway, Highway 311. Very heavy rain right there along Salem Lake right now. That's right about here. When you drive on the highway, Salem Lake's just about there. That's where it's raining the hardest right now. There's Linville Road. That's where that parking lot is to get you on the big trails over at Salem Lake. The other parking lots are over here. So very heavy rain falling, probably blinding, but it's not a big storm and it is on the move, which means we'll be tracking it going over in this direction up toward that newer section of the Winston-Salem Loop. That's going to get a good soaking pretty shortly. Farther north we go. This is on the north side of Forsyth County, pretty close to Highway 311. Again, some downpours, some lightning. That's kind of the name of the game with showers and storms today. If we kind of track these in another way, I like to sometimes do a 3D slice to show you how strong or not strong these showers and thunderstorms are. This is a pretty young system. It's only about 20,000 feet tall right now. But if I push this back to catch that other one, that's about 30,000 feet. So these are young storms. They're still getting their act together. We're going to watch them for you in Forsyth County. Let's go backwards, though. This is kind of the new area we want to watch more closely. This is a bit of a concern for you in Davie County. So we're in Mocksville here. Very, very heavy rainfall. This is a new storm that's kind of moving in right along I-40, right there along Mocksville, Callahan. Downpour rain, lots and lots of lightning over this direction. And what actually is interesting me right now, let's put the labels off so we can see this a little bit better. You know how there's a storm out to the west of it. So we have a storm out in front and we have a storm behind. It looks like they're going to collide or cluster together. And when they do, they're likely to make more of a big thunderstorm. There's already a ton of lightning with this, and honestly, it's been developing rather quickly. If we roll back in time, this is about an hour ago. None of this was here. They were small. Now they're both getting bigger, and they're both getting very, very electric. There's a lot of lightning in these. Right now, we've got about 137 lightning strikes within the last 15 minutes. Most of those, the yellower ones, those are fresh. So what I do on this, I keep about 15 minutes worth of lightning data on there so we can see the trends. The storm is getting stronger. There's not as many older strikes. There are more newer ones. So this one's intensifying a little bit over Iredell County and Davie County. So what I would expect is that this one's going to cluster up, make a bit of a stronger storm that could become a severe thunderstorm. And the track on this is going to move basically right up I-40. So Yadkin County would be impacted by this. Forsyth County, this would be headed your way in Winston-Salem. Probably in the next 30-40 minutes, we can put a storm track on this for you, assuming about 30 miles per hour on a day like today. Let's see how quickly that would get into Winston-Salem. So we'll put that storm track on there for you. Looks like about 7:21 would be the time frame for arrival for you. Yadkinville, just about 15 minutes from now. Clemens, closer to 7 o'clock. So about 20 minutes from now. Winston-Salem, about 40 minutes time. That's just an estimate, but hopefully that'll help you plan a little bit for your activities. Bottom line, you don't have much time left to play with today in Winston-Salem. A new storm is forming down in Salisbury. So basically what we have going on right now is a bunch of different storms popping up in different areas. So if you're in Moxville right now, it's raining like mad. There's lots of lightning here. There could be some gusty winds. Let's take a look at the velocity profile to see how strong any of those winds might be. Nothing that really jumps off the page right now, but there are some gustier winds. Probably 30, 40 mile per hour winds right now would be my best guess based on what we've seen so far today. Don't have any storm reports for you on those previous warnings. So there's not like a history of wind damage in too many areas. Looks like there's one spot in Wilkes County. Let's take a look at this one. This is new over the last hour. Several trees and okay, so this is new. Several trees and utility lines blow down around Wilkesboro. So that was around 5:20 this afternoon. Let's take a look together here. I'm going to pull up the power outage system and see what we have going on in Wilkes. So it looks like across the whole state of North Carolina right now, there are about 5,000 people without power. So not too many. In Wilkes, it's only a couple of dozen. So it doesn't look like there's been much of an impact to power. A couple hundred up in the mountains and a few thousand out in the western mountains. So bottom line, mostly looking at lightning and rain out of these storms. But you see for yourself on the radar, they're growing in number and they're really clustering up. So what's going to happen is we're probably going to fill in these gaps. These showers and storms will all kind of move in the same direction, and then we're going to start to have flash flood warnings to talk about. It looks like they did issue a flash flood warning for Wilkes County. Let's kind of take a look at that. This is a fresh one for us. Let's zoom in a little bit more so it ignores the other warning. So this here, that's for Wilkes County until 12:45 in the morning. Radar indicates this, and what we're looking at is how much rain has been falling. So we can see it right here. You see these yellows? When you look at these, this is the heavier rain. So about 3 inches of rain has fallen in some of those areas, and the anticipation is that more rain will continue to fall. So flooding is the name of the game with the storms later on today. Let's look at the wider view. So why is this all happening and what's going on over the next couple of hours? Well, we've got a cold front out here. You can kind of track it by where the storms stop happening. That's in Kentucky. That's in central Tennessee. Out ahead of it, here are multiple rounds of showers and storms, and you can track this from Alabama to Georgia, South Carolina, here, and up into Virginia. So this is a widespread system. It's affecting a lot of people, including us here in our News 2 viewing area. So what we're going to continue to track for you will be, over the next several hours, these different rounds of showers and storms, how they're moving our way, and what impact they're presenting to us. Now, there could be some decent rainfall totals out of this. I just showed you a couple of areas that have already estimated about 1, 2, and even 3 inches of rain. So over that period, and including whatever might fall tomorrow with some scattered storms, we could anticipate a broader brush of about 1 inch of rain, but there will be winners and losers. Not everybody gets the same amount of rainfall, but they're more widespread today than we've been used to over the last couple of days. So whereas it's been hit or miss, this is a bit more where everybody should count on at least some rainfall. Some might get more, some might get less. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon and evening today, and even into tomorrow. There will still be some lingering showers and storms. Let's walk you through Futurecast. So it's had an okay handle on what's been going on so far today. That's its estimate right now. I always like to compare the models because remember, a computer model is just a simulation. It's just an estimate of what might be going on in the atmosphere. Is it doing okay right now? If it's already wrong, it's probably not going to be that right going forward. It's doing pretty well right now for 6:30, so that gives us some confidence to track this forward in time. So let's advance this. This gets us closer to 8 and 9 o'clock. Lots of showers and storms out there, but notice how long it keeps it going. This is 1 in the morning. There's 2 and 3. At that point in time, I'm not really worried about severe thunderstorm warnings. I'm more worried at that point about flooding and just overall annoyance. You're going to have rainfall sounds, you're going to have lightning sounds for a good chunk of the nighttime. So thunder is a part of your evening. It's a part of your overnight as well. And looking ahead toward tomorrow, this is early in the morning. kind of an opposite day. Usually in the summertime, we can guarantee you a pretty dry morning and we wait for pop-ups in the afternoon. Tomorrow's not really one of those days. Tomorrow's one of those where you will have showers and storms popping up in the morning time frame, and then they could even linger a little bit into the early afternoon. That's when the cold front settles in, and that's when we get some better weather to kind of take over for the rest of the week. I think for Thursday and Friday, you'll like how both of those feel. Now to look at a different computer model's opinion for tonight, it has it pretty busy as we go through 8 and 9 and 10 o'clock or so, and it keeps it going. This would be around midnight. This is closer to 1 and 2 a.m. Here's 3 and 4. So hopefully that makes sense based on what we're showing. This is part of a cold front, as I said. Once you get on the back side of that, that's the drier air, that's the more comfortable air, but it takes a while for it to get here. I think by Thursday you'll start to notice a good amount of change, high pressure building in, lower humidity, slightly. Nothing spring-like or fall-like about it, but it'll be a little bit less oppressive than it's been. We're not going to call it a heat wave anymore, that's for sure, once we go into the 4th. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s for the afternoons, and that dry weather actually lingers a little while. So the next couple of days for rainfall kind of look like this. I want to spell it out for you. So we have tonight to worry about, and then for tomorrow, what we'd really be worried about would be just a couple of scattered thunderstorms here and there. After that, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all shaping up to be pretty dry and looking really nice. So the 4th of July holiday is in very good shape, which is kind of remarkable to say the least. Most years we have at least some level of concern to deal with when it comes for fireworks. Probably not as worried this year as we might typically be. So that's the rain potential. The humidity trend we talked about, that will be going down through the weekend a little bit. Dew points not all that high, backing off into the 60s compared to the 70s where we have been for a little while longer. I'm going to go back to the live radar for you because things keep on changing on a day like today. So this is kind of just like a tornado warning, how we would be covering it for you pretty casually. I'm going to do the same thing when we're doing storm tracking here. Just a little behind the scenes action basically. So back to the radar we go. This severe thunderstorm warning for 7:15 is probably going to be canceled at some point. Why? Well, take a look here. Inside the yellow box, most of the bad part of the storm has started to exit. So I wouldn't be all that worried anymore inside the warning for wind damage, but we'll keep an eye on it for you. What I would be worried about is this area that's unwarned out here in Rockingham County. That's a bit of a concern. So let's take a look for you. I'm going to, again, pop the radars off or pop the labels off so we can see this together. But if you're in Mayodan or Madison, kind of blended those two together, Madison and Mayodan. Hey, you had a bad storm last week too. We got a lot of video of the bad lightning, the bad downpours right there along 220. This was that area that got hit pretty hard. You're getting hit hard again. There's a lot of downpour rain in this. There could be some gusty winds. There's certainly a lot of thunder and a lot of lightning. That rainfall is no joke. Let's put the velocity back on to see how strong any of this might be. Still generally in that 40-mile-per-hour range probably, so probably not in that wind damage. But even so, the most important thing you can do when it comes to this, stay inside. I know you might be caught in the car, you might be at Walmart, things like that. Hang tight as best you can, because when lightning's out there, you're hearing the thunder, you are in danger. We did see recently a lot of people get struck by lightning in South Carolina. We don't want that to be the case around here. Notice how the radar is filling in the gaps. This was pretty bare just a couple of minutes ago. Now we have a storm that's kind of connecting back to this overall system, goes all the way back to Walnut Cove, and that's kind of globbing together, for lack of a better term, and making a bit of a storm cluster rather than individuals. So see how much it's changed? This is just about half an hour ago. You go from that to this. That's a pretty big change. That's a pretty big difference, and that is going to put down a lot of heavy rain and a lot of lightning too. Back to Forsyth County we go. Here's the storm that's still moving along. It's kind of over with in Salem Lake, but it's moving up to Walkertown at this time. Farther north you go. Stokes County, still a really tough time. Noisy. Getting word from one of our weather spotters up there. It's noisy in Stokes County. That makes sense. That checks out for sure. It's still noisy, of course, in Moxville. We're still watching these storms from Iredell County over to Davie County, down to Davidson as well. This is likely to become a new segment. So these will probably cluster together as well and then move their way to Winston-Salem. We can probably get another more accurate time frame on this if we use our tools. We love our technology. Let's check this out. So this will be arriving in Winston-Salem probably about 40 minutes from now. So about the same as what we just said a little while ago. Clemens, you have a little bit less time to prepare, probably about 20 minutes. And you can see right here, Louisville, same idea, about 7:15 or so. Yadkinville, you'd be in here about 10 minutes from now. So these aren't plugging along too quickly, but they are moving. Let's put some radar loops on here for you so you can see the motion on this. And a new storm just forming on the front end right there by Salisbury, right by High Rock Lake. This is right where the bridge goes over the lake on 85. That's a really heavy downpour that also will probably cluster up with that back segment. So Tyro, get ready for a big downpour. That could impact you in Welcome pretty shortly also. So on the wider view, what's been going on? Well, more showers and storms. There's another round in Tennessee, and this is going to be a marathon as we go through tonight. More rain and storms developing in Wilkes County. The name of the game here, most of these showers and storms aren't that severe, but they are very widespread, so a lot of us could get some pretty impressive rain totals out of this. Now, elsewhere in the state, what's been going on? Well, not all that much. There are some showers and storms back in South Carolina that we've been tracking. And let's go back to some of our sky cameras because we might start to be getting a pretty good view from our Winston-Salem camera. What I'm going to do as I have you here, I'm going to actually move this on the fly. So enjoy the view here, and I'm going to kind of control this so we can get a better view of some of those storms pushing closer to us, looking west from Forsyth County. So let's take a look here. There they are. So we can start to see them off in the distance. This is Winston-Salem proper. So it's pretty dark right now. It's not really raining or anything like that, but off in that corner of your screen, you can start to see some of those clouds really gathering. And like we said, Winston-Salem, you probably have until about 7:15 before anything all that bad moves your way. But those clouds are darkening up a little bit. If I move out of the way, you can kind of see that for yourself. Those are those storms kind of starting to move in there. And once they arrive, you're going to get a lot of lightning. You'll also start to see some really heavy downpours. That's kind of the name of the game for Winston-Salem and Forsyth County. Greensboro, still a waiting game, so it might be closer to about 8 o'clock for Greensboro. Burlington, you might not see anything until closer to 9 o'clock. So it really just depends on where you are, how quickly these showers and storms will start to move your way. But on the wider view, there's a long way to go, and we will have more updates throughout the night here. So this isn't the only one that we'll provide. We'll do another cut in at about 8 o'clock this evening, and if needed, a couple more after that, closer to 10 and 11 o'clock. Of course, our news at 11 o'clock should be pretty busy as well. So in the meantime, try your best to stay off the roadways and avoid those heavyish storms. They did go ahead and cancel that severe thunderstorm warning for Rockingham County, for Stokes County, for Surrey counties. So that's the only one that we were tracking at this time. That's been allowed to expire. We do have a flash flood warning for Wilkes. We're probably going to have more of these flash flood warnings start to pop up because once you get rain like this, and then you get more ones that move in and fill the gaps, flooding can be an issue, and it's not a fun one to track for sure. All of this rainfall, that's moving your way through Moxville and then Yadkinville and then Winston-Salem. If you have any storm pictures that you get throughout the night or storm reports, feel free to send them in to us. Before I let you go, I am going to check with our National Weather Service partners just to see if we have any storm reports that are being sent in to us. We told you about some trees down in Wilkes County a little while ago. That was earlier this evening. Looks like there's, so we have a tree down in Surrey County. This is near Woodville, near Cook School Road and Cook School Road Extension. That was about, well, really about a minute or two ago. That's up in Surrey County. So bottom line, you could have some down trees with some of these things as they move along. The storm in Forsyth County has gotten a little bit stronger. It's moving right there toward Blues Lake and Blues Creek. Kernersville, you're starting to get some rain out of this. It's gotten stronger at this time, and that'll be moving toward Oak Ridge. Maybe Summerfield gets clipped by that, and then up by Bethany as well. Walnut Cove, finally starting to get some relief, hopefully, within the next couple of minutes. But it'll be a noisy storm for sure, and not a fun one to go through. So that's the latest radar across the area. We've been giving you an update here on our Weather Impact Show. Before I let you go, let's kind of roll through the rest of the forecast. Bottom line, the rest of the night tonight, be on the lookout for scattered downpours and storms. That's why we have the alert. Flash flooding is possible. Wind damage can't be ruled out, but isn't all that likely. For tomorrow, some scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible. Temperatures will be in the low 70s in the morning, and it's just not that hot of a day because more clouds and chances for storms throughout the day. Not as much of an opportunity to heat up as you might think on a normal summer day. I'll leave you with the 7-day forecast. Let's pop that up for you before we let you go. And what we'll find is that pretty nice weather starts to settle in by the 4th of July. So temperatures in the mid 80s tomorrow, upper 80s for the rest of the week. And the main highlight to me is that dry weather. Dry weather is pretty likely, and that's what you want to see for the 4th. Temperatures in the upper 80s continue through Saturday and Sunday as well, and that's a good thing too. We're continuing to watch this weather threat through about midnight tonight, mostly for flooding. You can count on us for more updates on WFMY+. We'll see you back here coming up at 8 o'clock.